Hi, and welcome to the SEO podcast, Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. My name is Chris Burris, owner of eWebStyle.
I am Charles Lewis, your internet marketing specialist.
I'm making sure I have room so that you can see that this is podcast number 225. If you are watching the video, you can see it. There is a hashtag right before the SEO podcast. There is also a hashtag right before best SEO podcast if you were to try and, tweet.
And those are not hashtags, those are @ symbols.
Oh, I meant this one. And then, yeah, see, those are @ symbols for the, yes. When you look at the screen that's inches from your face, yeah, I'm going to use that. My glasses were on. I couldn't see it. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to another fun-filled edition of our podcast. As always, there is a tip from our previous podcast. For those doing the math, that previous podcast was number 224. And the tip for that podcast is install. This is a really good one, by the way. Last podcast was a good podcast. It was about PPC. And this one is install remarketing scripts on your website, even if you are not currently planning on using it.
Let me tell you the biggest reason why you should do that. Because it's free. Right? Google AdWords doesn't charge you anything to create an account, doesn't charge you anything to go and create the script to use for remarketing. So if you're building a site and you eventually plan on marketing that site, go to AdWords, create the script, put it in your site. That way you can begin building your remarketing list for use later. Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, you know how we always say from a social perspective, you need to be social on Facebook. And if you don't want to be on Facebook, rule number 2, at least have a Facebook account and then follow rule number 3, which says see rule number 1.
Yeah, be social on Facebook.
Be social on Facebook. So it's so inexpensive. I think everyone should be doing remarketing, right? It adds value. It's really hard to argue that there's no purpose for it. I can see if you're maybe just a sales page and your goal is absolutely one close.
That's probably even more of a reason to do it because sales pages suck. Yeah. Right. I've programmed myself to bounce. Yeah. As soon as I realized, okay, this page has more than 4 scrolls, right? Video, bullet point. Oh, they're trying to sell me. Bounce.
Escape before you read anything.
Exactly. I don't want to get sold. But if you have remarketing on that page, my bounce will catch up with me later. At one of my favorite sites that happens to be in Google's ad network. So add the remarketing script, no matter the service. I don't care if you are a service provider. I don't care if you sell products. If you maybe in a retail environment. Or maybe your site is just information for people to research. Bringing people back to your site at a click cost cheaper than bidding in the search network is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, please remember, we are your friendly local neighborhood top position snatchers, where our mantra is...
Don't be a douche. And that's a douche. Somebody tweeted us earlier. They retweeted us and they was like, don't be a douche. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know... A number 2 as opposed to a number 1 is worse. So you don't want to be a deuce and you don't want to be a douche. There's symbols. It's got to look something like that. That's worth tuning into this video, actually. Remember to tweet. And if you can tweet, we've got the symbols right here on the screen right behind us. That is a hashtag, and it says SEO Podcast.
Hashtag SEO Podcast. This is number 225. Be sure to tag us in it at eWebStyle, at Best SEO Podcast, because we are the best SEO podcast. And that way we can follow you back and do all of our social stuff. Remember, it probably would look something like
that. Something like that. What else? Maybe some jet. I don't know. All right. So if you can help us out. There's 3 things you can do. One of them has 3 steps. The first step is go onto iTunes. Second step is create an account. Third step is write a review. We're hoping that review is a 5-star review. And when you write that 5-star review, you can send it to us. You don't have to. We've actually found a way to do it. Send us an email anyway, podcast@e-webstyle.com. Second thing you can do, go to our G Plus local page. There are 4 easy ways to get to it. You really only need to use one of them, and they're very easy. It's e-webstyle.com/Google
Plus
or
/Google Plus
or
/G Plus
or
/G Plus.
You can also go to our Facebook page. So when you go there, add us to circles, write us a review.
Yeah, when you get to G Plus, put us in a circle, your favorite one, maybe an internet marketing circle or SEO hero circle or something like that.
Top position snatcher.
Top position snatcher circle.
Although we probably just the two of us would be there. So,
only
so
there.
Yeah, don't make that one. Make
Yeah.
it SEO. Yeah.
And then and give us a +1 while you're there.
Excellent. And finally, you can go to Facebook. On our Facebook page, there is an area where you can write reviews. It happens to be on every business page. Go check that out and write us a review, please. Just in general, if you want to stalk us, haunt us, terrorize us, you can do that. All of that at facebook.com/ewebstyle, youtube.com/ewebstyle, twitter.com/ewebstyle.
You
saw me hesitating, right?
Because you switched YouTube to Twitter.
Yeah,
I knew you were going to throw off.
And you totally threw me off. You can send us an email,
podcast@e-webstyle.com.
Finally,
and check this out. Hit us out on Instagram. Like, we've been doing a lot of Instagram stuff. It's eWebstyle as well. Check it out. Follow us. We'll follow you back. We do a lot of fun stuff around the office, a lot of podcast picks. You probably like it.
And Chuck already mentioned it, how to get to our G Plus local page, stuff going on there. And then make sure you add Chuck and I individually to your circles, because we're constantly posting about different stuff. Internet marketing related mostly, not too many cat stuff. Yeah, you gotta. It's the internet. You gotta throw in a cat every now and then, right? Even if it bit me, damn cat. All right, remember, you can get a free website analysis. You could go to our website, e-webstyle.com. Somewhere you will find a form or a link to a form to get a free website analysis. People have been turning those in. We have been getting caught up, so thank you. If you have a need and you submitted one, hit us back up. We'll jump on it faster. Sorry, we're getting caught up. Any algo cat?
No.
No algo cat.
Well, they did redo the, it's not really cat, but they did a refresh of the layout. Anybody with top heavy stuff, like if you still have tons of ads at the top of your site and all your decent content is at the bottom, make that change, because all those top heavy sites that are full of ads are getting devalued.
Yeah, devalued. All right, so we had a tweet. I was supposed to follow up with this one, I think. It's just really cool. This is on Twitter, because it's a tweet. That's where tweets happen, right? That's where they happen. Renee Grosskretz, inspired by eWebstyle, at eWebstyle, I am starting my own podcast about my passion, which is blogging. Excellent, thank you.
Oh, she's going to love today's content.
Excellent. This is, next one is from Brock Cersei.
Name.
Yeah, and I think this is, this is cool. So he starts off with 5 stars, and he actually says, that's me singing harmony with you, Chris and Chuck, on the podcast. I enjoy your podcast so much and was so surprised to receive a personal phone call from Chris to follow up with me regarding an email I sent eWebstyle regarding a sitemap issue, which we discussed in the last podcast. I also reminded them in my email about my website analysis per a comment they made on the podcast, and it reviewed my website with me right there over the phone. So that was...
punching the tiff to Chris.
Yeah. Thank you. I deserve that one. All right, so next we have from Mo Farhat. It says A+++++. Well, that's 4 pluses. Service. All right, and then we'll do...
I actually thought he was just disguising the curse word.
Oh. Yeah, it's a little short.
Yeah.
It's abbreviated. Yeah, we do some work with Mo, and he's a great guy. Just, honestly, we've done a project with him, and his patience knows no bounds, because literally we're
I'm about to email you, Mo. I just realized which Mo that is.
Yeah. We're on iteration literally 17 of feedback, and thank you, Mo. I have sent him 2 leads, so hopefully he's converted those into clients. He deserves it. Next, Juicy SEO is the title. It is 5 stars by Roger, United Kingdom, from United Kingdom. I don't know. Oh, Roger, United Kingdom.
From the United Kingdom.
So that's his handle. A big thanks for the great energy-filled approach to getting us the lowdown on what's new, what's hot, and what's imperative.
Oh, really?
I like that. You guys add a bit of SEO sunshine, the gray, murky weather that's been stalking me this winter. You're what do you mean this winter? You're in the UK.
Yeah, it's always
like all the time. You know, I do have a story. I got locked in the Dunnottar Castle in Scotland. And I blame it on the fact that the hours for the park, for the castle, were from dusk till dawn. No, from dawn until dusk. And I was like, it's winter. And I don't know. It was literally dusk at noon when I arrived. So when is actually dusk? So, and then I got locked in. It's interesting. Hit me up if you want to hear that story. Keep up the great work and don't stop with the goodness. Anyone rating this a 1-star gets a what?
Already.
I like that.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
Punch in the face, Roger.
All right, I got a bunch more. Let's just get into the question. This is from Greg Took. He's actually tuned in. It looked like he seems to be gone. Maybe. All right, we'll kick him in the shin since he's not here. It says, I am wondering about comments. My site, tonsillectomyrecovery.com, has 9,000 comments across 50 different pages. I'm wondering two things. One, since these comments are also indexed, do they have equal weight as my content? And I'm thinking this is two, might they dilute the quality? Reading the page source of the Google cache from one of these pages, it appears that only the comments on the page are indexed. Older comments, only new comments, older comments are not. So?
Okay, so to answer that, Greg, first off, thanks for the question. Really appreciate it. Punch in the face for sending it.
Sorry about kicking in the shins.
So, yes, they do have quality there. Comments was a thing that was pursued a lot some years ago. We was a coin going around user-generated content,
right.
And that was really comments, especially if you got 9,000 of them, right? So the part B of your question is a yes as well. Unfortunately, yeah, they can dilute your SEO quality, especially if most of those comments are kind of spammy or maybe include links to various sources or
unrelated,
yeah. It's kind of one word and comments like "great."
Right.
And
great article.
Yeah. So
by the way, that's the origin of "Don't be a douche."
Exactly. Yeah. It really is. And so you don't, you want to maybe moderate those if you can. But what you can do to increase the relevance of those, and I won't say do this for all 9,000 of them. Have you responded to them?
Yeah.
Maybe any comments where people have asked questions. Good time to go in and reply to that question.
And make sure you're managing your keyword density.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that just really make sure that the comments aren't spammy and this and that nature. And if they are, take some time to delete them because they're not worth anything. Think he had a part B?
Yeah, so yeah, part B, might they dilute the quality? So we kind of covered that. And then the second question, so that was all part of one. Mm-hmm. The second is, if these old, archived old comments aren't in the index, should I scrape them into new posts?
Nope.
I mean, there are thousands of questions and answers and concerns related to my topics.
I wouldn't. I would leave them where they are. If I was going to do anything with those comments, it would be delete the bad ones and respond to the good ones, and I would leave them there. Now, since user-generated content isn't that big of a deal as it was maybe some years ago, you may want to shift your comment strategy to something social, like a Facebook plugin, and that way you can tie that comments to a specific post in Facebook. And so that way people can reply and comment, and it'll show up on their wall, it'll show up on your wall, and you may gain some other activity that way.
Cool. All right, that's our question. Again, Greg Took, punch in the face. Thank you. Three quick things of interest, news that I thought was of interest. That's why I call them of interest. Google Fiber adds 9 more regions.
Yeah.
Houston is not one of them.
Let's go. Houston, like the fourth big. Well, it's probably why they haven't added it.
Yeah, we may have access to a lot, and the city of Houston may have rejected it. What's interesting is one of the things that they're doing with the data is actually sharing it with the cities. Hey, when you're in the process of building these infrastructure, here's what we learned. That's cool.
That's awesome.
Because it's just so smart, right? Cool. Who would think that the search engine should be in the business of getting fiber to different cities and providing that information? And the reality is, the more you use the internet, since in general you use Google so much, the more you will use Google. Yeah. I'm thinking YouTube. That's just going to go up. Ubuntu. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I have.
All right. So that's one. I think it's one of the install sets for one of the Linux distros or multiple Linux distributions, and they're coming out with a touch. Hello, Ubuntu. So I was expecting to see the screen and have like a command prompt that I had to type. I would call. You know how Linux is usually not graphical user interface. It's usually like a command prompt, and so a phone might be like call 01101111011.
Yeah, to equal to make somebody dial a number.
We should have Javier make an image like that. It'd be
remember he did that for I ain't gonna mention the client name, but remember he put the 0110 code inside the logo.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. Odd client. All right.
Odd client, man.
So Google open source Android really isn't open source, and I actually didn't get time to get into the details of what they were saying, how it wasn't open source, and all they were saying is, according to the releases of Android to the different carriers, Google locks down a whole.
Yeah, they
lot.
do. I mean, that's why you got to go through loops and boundaries to try to crack your phone to do anything with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the point is, even when it's cracked, I think it's not totally cracked. Yeah. So that's all really cool. That is the potatoes of our podcast. Time to get into the meat.
All right, great. So today's meat, we want to talk about blogging. So I was at Search Engine Watch. I want to give a punch in the face to Ken Lyons. He posted an article. The title got me: 7 Reasons Your Blog Sucks and How to Fix It. Right, and so to Cersei, the blogging person.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, but he actually has some pretty good points in here, and I think these points go for more than just blogs, but to your website in general, especially the content on your site. And so let's dive in. Number 1, he says you post sporadically. That's a problem. His first line is, it's difficult to build readership and a core audience if you post infrequently or go on long spells without publishing anything. And that is so true. Yeah. If your intent is to blog and to create an audience that likes what you write about, that has some interest in the products or services that you offer, or interested in your community, then you have to post consistently. It's a reason why we are doing this podcast today, is because Chris won't be here Friday, but it's necessary for us to consistently put out a podcast every week. And so we're doing it today. You have to post consistently. Now, what you should do, if you can narrow it down.
Quickly, you think 225 podcasts counts as consistent?
I think so.
Okay,
I think so.
Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I think that if you really want to get to it, then you can dedicate to a specific time of day, a specific day of the week where you podcast all the time. Like I kind of like what HubSpot does. They do theirs, it's like every Friday, 4:00. And it's out there,
yeah,
and they commit to that, and that's what generates the followership people can look for, just like a TV show. So
we can brag about 225. We can also give ourselves a hard time
kicking the shin for. Sometimes it's at 9. It may be at 12. Today it's at
Wednesday, like a whole full 48 hours early. So yeah.
So and we're working on that, but consistency is the key.
And predictability.
Definitely. So number 2, you're an insensate self-promoter. Now, we've got some complaints about that,
And I think we're actually not,
we're giving away tons of free information that's great. And so, that's our way of you paying for it.
Yeah.
But he goes on to say it's fine to make a big company announcements or talk about new product releases on occasion.
Yeah.
And that's key. I think what we're talking about here is, well, if you're constantly blogging about how awesome you are, how good you are, why people should use you, why your products are the best, why your service is phenomenal, and all of your posts have that same sort of theme. Yeah, then that's a problem, because I won't read your full second post.
That's a deuce.
That's a douche.
Douche.
Ooh. How's that symbol?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that symbol's pornographic.
Yeah, don't do that. So don't do that. You don't want to be a douche. Number 3, your writing just stinks, and there are people like that, right? Maybe writing isn't what you should be doing. Just because you have tons of ideas and you can type really fast, maybe you shouldn't be writing your post. What you should do, and we actually told a client this today, or potential client, list out what's on your mind. List out what you want to communicate, and then hand it over to somebody who can write it, who knows how to communicate in first person or third person or whatever voice you want your post to be in.
Stay consistent in that person. Yeah.
Across the blog, not just across the post, but across the blog, really. And let somebody else write it. But to determine your voice and hire someone if you have to. It was my side note.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that at the end of the day, the writing, which is what you're publishing, which is what you're posting, is quality. Because if you're posting garbage and it stinks, then you're wasting your efforts.
I really like the concept. The project management tool that we use is called Work, Etc.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually were talking about their hiring process, and in that process, they were talking about one of the people they are hiring was a journalist. because they want the journalist to go and interview existing customers, create white papers with existing customers, and that's collateral and content and all of those things. So somebody who has the ability to be investigative and to put things in a certain voice.
And then communicate effectively. That's important.
Yeah. Yeah, we end up managing that now. Just really, it's Chuck and I usually that are managing the specific voice and really the final edits of copy that's going out. So,
definitely. Number 4, if your blog consists of entirely guest posts, kicking the shins for you for doing that, because that's no originality.
I'm kind of, if you were consistent, I'd be kind of impressed you could get that many consistent guest posts. Well done.
Kind of.
You should also write your own content.
At the end of the day, and Matt Cutts said it best, guest posts are dead. And so,
if you're not willing to personally vouch for the person who's posting on your site, emphasis on personally, don't do it.
Yeah, you have to, and not just that, the content needs to be really, really good. Like that author has to have some really, really good quality from other posts that they've done in order to bring any type of value to your site that won't be flagged as some lame attempt to get backlinks. So I would kind of stay away from guest posts. It just doesn't work right now at this day. But you never know, that could change.
Yep.
Number 5, you never respond to comments. Kind of like what Greg's question was. You have to respond to comments. If you happen to put out a post and it happens to get shared and people happen to read it all the way to the end and they happen to write a comment, you owe it to them to reply to their comment. Even if your comment back is thanks for reading, hit me up if you have any questions. That sort of activity, one, get your authorship going. It's showing that you're responsive to other authors who are online. And number 2, other people who read that blog understand that, hey, you're a real person and you will communicate back. And that will encourage them to also leave comments.
Yep.
So respond to comments. Don't be a douche and like leave people hanging. Especially if they like ask you a question.
Yeah.
That's a great time to either take their question and spin it off into a whole new blog post, or at worst case, or at the very least, respond to it and answer their questions.
Yep.
Number 6, all your posts are keyword driven. That would suck. I mean, because that's a clear attempt at just trying to rank for a certain phrase, and so you're creating posts loaded with keywords. At the end of as a matter of fact, he says there's nothing wrong with letting keyword research drive some of your content strategy.
Yeah.
And that's, at the end of the day, we're optimizing.
Yep.
So you definitely want to have a target phrase. The key is to remember who you're writing for. You're not writing for the search, you're writing for your audience.
Yep.
Right? So write for them. Just keep your keyword strategy and your content strategy in mind, because you're publishing this content for a reason.
I think I would reword that with there's nothing wrong in letting, or I think keyword research should drive all of your content strategy. You just need to be careful to make sure that the content reads well.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So you can let keyword research define what you're going to write about and what your title is going to be. And then I think that's more, at the end of the day, that's more about spammy.
It's what I was about. You don't want to keyword stuff your content for the sake of meeting some level of keyword density. Like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Make sure you have the keywords in. If you optimize your blog post right, titles, headers, things like that, then your content should be free flowing, and it should be conversational and approach your audience the right way. And with that sort of user engagement, then the keywords that you did use will rank well. Yep. Let's see here. Last one. Number 7. You bombard your visitors with aggressive pop-ups. He goes on to say, if someone visits your blog and it prompts a pop-up once, fine. But if pop-ups appear on the schedule every few minutes, that really sucks. It really, really does. He went on to say, and it kills the user trust in your site. I won't say that, because if you have good content, you just have good content, and I trust it. Pop-ups are just an annoying experience. And this is a kick in the shin to Search Engine Journal. Like, they do it all the time. Oh man, and I can't stand it. Every page I go to, I get the pop-up, hey, subscribe to our newsletter. And I'm like, no, I already subscribed to the newsletter.
That's even worse, right? So you need to drop a cookie so you know who subscribed to your newsletter. Who's already
subscribed.
That's not actually that hard.
And so I'm a little disappointed in them in that. But I go to it all the time
Yeah.
because the content's great. And so, yeah, don't give people annoying pop-ups because pop-ups suck and they probably always will.
Yep. Cool. We do have a client that we put a pop-up on.
Well, it was a necessary pop-up
Yep.
though. It was informational. It was part of our
For
marketing
one-time
funnel.
visitors,
And and that pop-up gets a lot of action. So, matter of fact, it increased conversions.
Yep. I did a good job, so that's what we were expecting. Do we have any what?
So what do you know about Clout?
I don't know too much about Cloud. I know it's online and you can look up numbers.
It's kind of like an online profile, how much clout you have.
Yeah, right. Cloud assessment site.
Sort of deal. Yeah. Anyway, they sold for $100 million.
Wow.
What? What? Exactly. I can't even think of the company who bought them, but more importantly, I don't understand why. Because if you ask anybody that question, what do you know about clout? They're going to have the same response.
Yeah, they're kind of like, okay, so they measure social, and actually your clout score is dependent on how much
activity
profile
you've
done on clout. Like, okay, so
that's included, and I think
with
how much Twitter activity you have, how many retweets you get, how many followers, how many fans, and all sorts of other stuff is involved. And at the end of the day, I don't.
Yeah, 100 million. Well, okay. Well, good.
Kudos, punch in the face to Clout for
cha-ching. Great concept. You marketed it well. You got it out there. It's not easy. That's it's not. If you build it, they will come. So, you did a good job. All right, this has been podcast number 225, as it says right there. Not after the hashtag, under the hashtag SEO podcast. Make sure you follow us, hang out with us, all of that good stuff. We really appreciate you guys. Making us the most popular internet marketing podcast on iTunes. Thank you. Thank you for all the reviews. I got one more left. We'll save that for next week. Thank you for writing reviews. Thank you for sending questions. Thank you for following us on Facebook. Thank you for following us on Twitter. Thank you in general. Until the next podcast, my name's Chris Burris.
Charles Lewis.
Bye-bye for now.
All right. Good.